I encourage you to give it a try.
What?
A traveling aura facial. I'm just saying.
You just want to hurt me.
It does not have to be painful.
So if it is painful, then what?
Well, I will talk you through it.
How you gonna talk me through pain? It sounds like I'm going into labor, and you gonna say, "Hey, I'm gonna talk you through this pregnancy," and it's not fun. It's gonna hurt. No
Just breathe, what. Rich. Just breathe. Come on. Inhale.
Welcome back to another episode of Attractive Mindset. And today's guest, she is an absolute powerhouse in the industry. I'm talking about if you want serenity on the go or in the comfort of your home or office. Listen, this is the person that you need to talk to for all things service oriented when it comes to just a peace of mind. And her name in itself is powerful, but I'm gonna let her tell you a little bit more about herself, Miss Rain.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rain, the founder of Traveling Aura Mobile Spa, a luxury mobile spa experience here in South Florida where we pamper clients in their home, office, or hotel, so you don't have to travel in our lovely traffic. And so creating this oasis wherever you are so you don't have to miss out on it, so to speak.
Amazing. So Traveling Aura, that's a powerful name. How did that come about?
So it's interesting. So initially I was going with the aura and I was like, something about aura. I really want to do aura. And I went to the Small Business Development Center, just kind of seeking, some guidance and I felt like something was missing, but I couldn't quite peg what was missing. And the guy there said to me, he's like, I really think you need to add traveling to the name. And I was like, I think you're right. And I added traveling to the aura element, and that was what became Traveling Aura. And as time went on, I did not really, as entrepreneurs, you kind of get in this mode where you're just so focused on, creating and cultivating, you don't really process, right? When we go into go mode. And so when I sat down and I thought about it, and I was like, wow, this is the perfect name for what I'm doing. Traveling Aura it is. And so Traveling Aura was birthed in October of 2017.
Wow. October 2017. So pre what we know as pandemic. And so what do you think, or how was the navigation before the pandemic, during the pandemic, and after the pandemic?
Interesting. So before the pandemic, I was doing a dual model where I had a salon suite on Fort Lauderdale Beach. So my clients, because sometimes we do charge more for the mobile element. So sometimes clients want to come in because they're like, hey, I don't have the time to do the mobile to get in that state of relaxation. Can I come somewhere? So I had the salon suite on Fort Lauderdale Beach, and then the pandemic happened. So I was doing the dual thing. But the reason why I ended up doing the salon suite is because one of my peers from middle school, she had a suite on the beach. And she said, I think it would be great for you to be in here. So I went against my business model because my business model is 100% mobile with the intent to eventually open a space. I did it a little bit sooner because the opportunity presented itself, and then the pandemic happened. And so what the pandemic did for me, though, is it encouraged me to go back to my original model, which was 100% mobile. But then it also solidified my mobile concept because our phones were on fire. People were like, because everything was closed. They were like, I'm tired of my husband trying to paint my toes. I need someone to come in and do this for me. And so that's what happened. And it really made me believe in what I had created, because when I created it pre-pandemic, I was kind of like, I don't really know how this is going to work out, but for some reason I believe in it. And so the pandemic solidified it pretty much.
So how was it just you that created it by yourself?
Yes.
And so how long did it take you to really scale into like the team aspect of your business?
Well, I quickly realized that so a little backstory. This is actually my second company. I had a prototype company that was mobile, that was called Sage Mobile Spa. And so with Sage, it was only nails. But I was in North Florida because I am a graduate of Florida A&M University, Rattlers in the house. So I was doing that in North Florida. So when I moved back to South Florida, I said, wow, this is a bigger terrain. And if you're gonna do this, you're gonna have to approach it differently. And I knew that there's no way that I could service the Tri-County just myself. And I'm
Got
like,
it.
you have to build a team. So I started to, work my network more. I've worked with people in salons. I've been in the industry for 2 decades. I'm like, you utilize those resources and build a team from there. And so I slowly started doing that.
Industry for 2 decades. You
Two
only look
decades.
about 25 years old. Come on.
I love when people say that. I'm like, I've been out here.
So let's dive into the story of who is Rain.
Which parts? Business or personal?
So
Or
let's start personal. Where are you from originally?
I am born and raised in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, Broward County,
Yes.
by
A unicorn, because everyone's from everywhere else.
I feel that. I'm from New York, so
Really? Okay, I was gonna ask that because I heard the little bit of accent, but
yeah, I gotta water it down to fit in every now and then.
every now and then that
it's
accent
cool.
rolls through.
So growing up in Broward, what was life like for you?
So growing up in Broward was actually very interesting. So I'm first generation American. My family's from Haiti. And so I feel that there were things that they could not necessarily teach me because they were also trying to adapt to a new place, a new environment, somewhere they didn't go to school. And so I felt like my childhood was kind of like me figuring out all the things they could not tell me. But then I also had to utilize the things that they showed me from a Caribbean standpoint. So even though we went to private school, my sister and my mom had us in private school, but we lived in the hood. So I feel as though that I was fortunate to get a chance to have this versatility that a lot of people don't have, where you can place me anywhere and I will thrive. It does not matter.
You speak Creole?
Yes, fluent.
Okay. Okay. I was about to say something in Creole and I don't even know.
Dégage no.
That's
That's
no
it.
comprend.
Sac passe?
Ma voulez?
Hey.
On comprend. Yeah.
Everyone knows the sac passe.
Yeah, we know that part. So you growing up, having that sister, growing up private, but still having elements to the hood, I know a lot of other entrepreneurial business people that of our Haitian descent, their parents want them to be more, what's the word, corporate or, that specific doctor, nurse kind of oriented. Did you get that kind of pressure since you're in more of a fluid field?
So yes and no. It was more so from other family members. My mom was very open, and my parents were open. And the reason being is because, my mom is also in the industry. That's how I got into the industry. So she got a license as a manicurist. And so I was about 9 years old and I was always in her things. And so what I appreciate is that she paid attention to how inquisitive I was. And so I'm like, Mom, I really want to do this. I really want to do this. And so she's like, you need to wait till you're 16 because in Florida, 16 is the age where you can get your license. And so on my 16th birthday, kids don't forget anything. I'm like, so about that class though, are you still paying for that? And she said yes. And so I would go to night school, to beauty school after. And so I did go to college. I got a degree in criminal justice. I was going to go to law school, which I still...
Be a cop?
No, I was going to go to law school.
Okay.
Just more on the juvenile justice side, just kind of advocating for the youth and the teen because, growing up in the area I grew up, I saw how law enforcement, in a sense, took advantage of the youth because they did not know their rights and things of that nature. So
I feel like you could fit in the TV show. You ever seen Suits?
Really, I love that show.
I feel like you could be.
I love that show. And I love,
you could be like a Rachel Zane.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I do have plans once the business gets super successful and I don't have to focus on money because when you're in law school, you're not allowed to work. They prefer that you don't work.
I didn't know that fact.
Yeah. You can only focus on your studies. And I'm like, come on, I'm Caribbean. Don't work.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, let's put these funnels and systems in place so that I can pursue this law degree in the near future. So I didn't get the pressure, but from other people, my mom was more understanding. And so I just kind of leaned in more on her support instead of the outside people, because what I learned from my family is that people will pressure you to become things that they themselves cannot do.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that because I was going to ask also, do you feel like that passion for what you do now came from the observance of your mom only? Or do you feel like if she didn't do that, would you still be in what you do now?
Well, to be honest, she did not pursue it as far as I did.
Mm,
And being that this industry, if you know anything about the beauty and industry, is like you have to build your clientele. You're either going to
mhm.
go work in a salon where they'll bring the clients in for you, or there's still an element that requires you to know how to navigate through conversations. And my mom, she likes to act like she's timid sometimes. And I'm like, so she didn't pursue it because, at the time being in this industry was not sufficient enough to sustain a household if you didn't know how to tap into those conversations. And so I think the language barrier kind of made her afraid to.
Got it.
And so I, in a sense, again, had to figure it out on my own because I really wanted to do this.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. And so, what about your sister? Did she have that same kind of creative pathway, or did she go more corporate?
So she's actually in accounting. So
Ah,
she's an accountant.
okay.
So it's so interesting because even as a child, she was always like the one wanting a cash register for
Numbers.
like and numbers and stuff like that. So she's getting ready to sit for her CPA board. And so
Sheesh.
yeah, so we have
Congrats.
that, element that balances each other out, so to speak.
Okay, okay. We have some queens out here elevating the community. I love it. I love it. Okay,
Yes.
so now let's dive into the realm of college.
Mhm.
So, did you ever think about sports or anything, or you're more just focused on let's get to the money, let's make the money?
So I was more of so in high school I was in the band.
Hmm.
So I was more of like if I'm going to do something sports related, it's going to be like cheerleading, auxiliary and things of that nature. And if you know anything about FAMU, they're not really pro auxiliary. They're like you're going to play an instrument.
Yeah,
And so I'm like
the Rattlers,
right. I'm like
the Marching
the
100.
Marching 100, they are brutal. And so I kind of went just more so focusing on the studies because, again, I was in an environment that no one in my family could tell me how to navigate through.
Mm,
And so I'm like, okay, I made it to college. Now I must graduate.
mm,
So my focal point became more on graduating, law school, and then the business element. I do have a minor in journalism also. So I took some journalism classes,
okay.
just kind of trying to find my way of the things that were of interest to me and trying to put them together. But no one made those connections for me until post college, honestly.
Got it. And so, where do you feel like you really started to develop that open kind of, hey, I'm here kind of personality? Because we met at the Great Connect
Hmm.
and we actually met towards the end of the night. But
Hmm.
even then, like, you just broke into a conversation and you were like, hey, what's up? And it felt like we had known each other already for a significant amount of time. And so that welcoming kind of aura,
Hmm.
where did that come from?
It's a gift and a curse
Mm.
because, sometimes people think I want to be friends for a long time, but I'm just kidding. But no, I do believe it came from me being in the industry so young,
Mm.
being a manicurist. Like when you're doing nails, a person is sitting across from you for however long it takes you to complete their service.
Mm.
Now imagine sitting as close as, a little further from this mic, right? If I'm that close in your face for an hour and saying nothing, how weird is that?
I mean, I've gotten pedicures before and we don't talk except for when they scratch the little middle, little bottom. Like, hey, chill. You about to get kicked, but that's it. We don't really
That's
have
it.
conversation,
And
but it's
how do
not
you feel
awkward.
about that?
I don't feel like it's awkward, but only because of, I don't know. I don't feel like it's awkward.
Do you feel your experience would be different if someone more so asked about your experience? Like, how are you today? Would you like something to drink? Would you, how was your day? How was your week? Do you feel like, do you prefer not talking or do you feel that that would change your.
I'm mixed. I never really thought about it in that way. Maybe I would have the conversation, but I don't think the lack of conversation inhibits me either.
Got it. Got it. So yeah, so being in this space, there are clients, sometimes they're in their zone. They don't want to talk, which is totally fine. But sometimes, it's a safe haven, the salon, just like when you go see your barber, right? Like, especially if you have your go-to barber you've been going to for years, you're like, you can't wait to get in that chair to share the things with your barber that you're not going to share with other people. Right. And so that's kind of what being a manicurist did for me. It made me, find a way to have conversations, because sometimes I would get someone in my chair and they were a chatty Cathy. And I'm like, okay, how are you going to interact? You're not going to get every client that's not wanting to speak. So what do you do in these instances if someone is like, I was looking forward to this appointment and I want to tell you all about it? And so then people started saying to me like, oh, you're really a great conversationalist. And so it became part of me and it became natural. And so then I realized it was a part of business, right? And networking and building relationships. And so you have to be able to go into space and say, I don't know this person, but how can I get them to open up? And so that's in a sense what happened at the Great Connect. I'm like, you know what? I see what y'all did there with the mobile podcasting vibe and, the conversation, because y'all were really hot over there. Everyone was in your section.
Thank you.
So I was like, okay, I caught them outside.
So as a manicurist, you do pedicures as well, or that's
yes.
just okay?
Yes. So I'm actually full
everything.
specialist.
Got it.
So I do nails and skincare.
Ooh.
But a manicurist does do nails and pedicures.
Got it. So you doing nails and skincare, what elements do you add outside of just nails?
Meaning for the client's experience when they're getting...
Yeah, like the skincare portion.
So on the nails, I like to use a sugar scrub during the service. And it's more of the products that I utilize in order to, get the dead skin off, and then reapplying, moisturizing products that, helps bring back everything that I just removed, so to speak. So on the nails part, that's where I'll add a skincare element, so to speak. Yeah.
Okay. So I forgot what I was going to say.
I'm glad to hear that you get pedicures though, because guys, tend to, act as if it's a feminine thing, and it's not, gentlemen.
It's not. Okay. It's not. You gotta keep them dogs clean. You know what I'm saying? Like me personally, why are you laughing already? Because I'm about to say something. Listen. It's a judgment-free zone.
Sounds like you go to the salons and cut up.
Nah. I don't go cut up. But, I personally can't deal with a female that doesn't have her feet looking right. Like, I don't care if you're the most beautiful person on this planet. Them dogs gotta be right. You know what I'm saying? And that's just it for me. And so I can't have like a crazy double standard. I'm not in there every single month, but I make sure that, quarterly at least, like I'm in there getting it right. And so I think I have good feet for a guy. I could go to the beach and show out, but that's just me.
I love it. I love that you said, I can't have the double standard, because people will have expectations of others that they don't have for themselves. And it's like, come on. And so sounds like you need a traveling or a pedicure, so you don't have to wait quarterly. I'm just saying.
So what happens? Can you do it while I'm shooting a podcast live?
Absolutely.
We're going to do a live podcast, traveling or a pedicure.
I'd love that. Just think about, LeBron and the barbershop show, like, right? They're sitting in the barber chairs, and let's make that happen. Let's make that happen. Let's show them, what self-care and wellness is all about.
I'm with that. So we're going to have a part 2, especially, but so wait, if we're having a part 2, who's going to do it? You have a team though.
I do.
So, okay. So we're going to have a part 2 while we're getting pedicures while doing this. And I'm a little ticklish on the bottom. So,
well, there's techniques to help alleviate the tickle.
I haven't met them yet, so y'all must know something new, because I start learning kung fu when I get in that pedicure seat. You know what I'm saying?
So with reflexology, have you ever heard of reflexology?
I have.
So the bottom of your feet triggers every part of the upper body. So to help alleviate the laughter, if you press down in the center of the feet, it can help, in a sense, alleviate some of that tickleness that you feel in.
So though your thumb looked kind of strong when
Yeah,
you
it's,
did that.
you know,
So does
it's
that
very strong.
change laughing to pain? Because I don't want that either, though. You know, is there
Pain
like a
is
happy
pleasure.
middle? Ooh, that is in the Marine Corps. I don't know about in a civilian world.
I do appreciate some of the Marine references. It makes you go harder.
You're in the military?
No.
Oh.
I just feel like, you know, you can use some of those things as a way to encourage you to like go harder, so to speak, you know, like the
True.
David Goggins mindset type.
Yeah, I'm super pro David Goggins, you know. People can call me a little aggressive at times, but hey.
Imagine when you're a woman and people say that.
You know, if I were to put you as like, they're not even anime characters, but you know, what do you call X-Men? Like cartoon, just cartoon? Animated.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to put you as an animated character, I already know. I feel like you know which one I'm about to say anyway.
Which one?
Storm.
I knew it.
Yeah. See. Yeah.
It's because of the name,
vibes.
is it?
It's the name too, but your presentation, like you got that aura, that like I could see gray hair rain just raining. You know what I'm saying? Like doing your thing.
Putting my staff down.
Absolutely. So hey, you know, maybe cosplay in the future.
I was just gonna say Halloween next year.
There
I
it
may
is.
have to tap into that.
There it is. So with this business, now you're a manicurist, but you also do massages because that's what you were mainly doing at the Great Connect, right?
Yes, my team was.
So
when I came to South Florida and when I decided to expand because I'm doing a bigger terrain, I wanted to add the spa. So the name of the company is Traveling Aura Mobile Spa. And so I felt like spa is not really a spa without massages. True. And so when you think of spa, for me at least, it's usually massages and facials that tend to get pegged as the spa element. And I knew then I needed to build relationships with massage therapists. And so I do have a team of massage therapists. I personally am not licensed in massages, but I do know techniques and things of that nature that I can do during my facial and manicure and pedicuring services.
And so I'm glad you brought up facials because we're going to have this conversation and I've been waiting. I might have to take the glasses off for this one. There's this specific piece of facial. I don't know where y'all like dig in the nose. Why are you trying to kill me?
So that is called extractions.
Yes. Why does that hurt? You extracting my soul.
Okay. So what happens is your skin is the largest organ on the body. And what we don't realize is pollution. Our skin is like a sponge. So it absorbs all of those things. And so the nose tends to be an area where all of that gunk and stuff goes into. And so what we're doing is removing those purities. Like when you got those extractions, didn't you feel like your nose was lighter, your skin looked lighter, and you just...
That was the least of my worries. I felt like my soul was lighter. Pieces of me was going every whatever. And she's like, we can stop if you want. I'm like, what's the point? We done started already. Like...
So you shed a little tear.
A little. You know what I'm saying? I kept my eyes closed so that I could just pile up. And then when I opened them at the end, it just, you know what I'm saying?
But released. I'm sure it felt amazing. And I'm sure your skin looked so different because they went in with the steam afterwards to close your pores and hit you with the towel. And how did you see? And how, see, once you forgot about
aftercare was cool, but I ain't forget. My skin ain't forget either. Because even after I walked out of there, I was a little sore. I'm like, yo, I can't go to a photo shoot like this or not. And you gotta have that heel point.
Agreed. Now, if you are gonna do a photo shoot or gonna be on camera afterwards, I don't recommend extractions because the skin will be a bit tender. What your esthetician should do is move around and not stay in that same area because if you're still extracting in the same area, it will cause the skin to inflame, and that's probably why you're like
because the way she said it was, she's like, when the last time you had an extraction? I said, I've never had an extraction. And she said, oh boy. And I said, hold on. I said, you said that a little concerning. So she had to like go extra
So she's like, let me get that kindergarten.
Yeah,
Like,
she went
back.
crazy. She went crazy. But the rest of like my face didn't really hurt.
Right.
It was just my nose.
Right. Because that's where we tend to do most of the extractions. You seem to have nice skin, so you don't have any blemishes or anything ever anywhere else. So she didn't need to extract in those other areas.
Said I was a model?
You know.
That's
you
what
do
I
a little
heard.
razzle dazzle.
That's what I heard. You know, let me put these back on. Y'all heard that. She said I have
I'm his
model
agent.
skin.
I'm his agent.
She said I have model skin. That's all I heard in that conversation.
You got to keep the extractions though to keep that model skin.
Ooh. Okay, well, do y'all put people under
anesthesia?
Yeah.
No.
Why? I feel like it'll be
He's being so dramatic.
Listen, that thing, it's like, I don't know. You know, some people on this world can deal with pain a lot more than others. That's why I have one tattoo. You know what I'm saying? Like, I did that and I was cool for the outlines, but the moment they started shading, I'm like, what have I done with my life?
So does that mean you will not get a facial again?
No, because with tattoos, I have numbing cream. So if y'all develop some type of numbing cream or something got to give. You know, when you go to the dentist, it hurts. They put you out. You put me out.
I encourage you to give it a try.
What?
A traveling aura facial. I'm just saying.
You just want to hurt me.
It does not have to be painful.
So if it is painful, then what?
Well, I will talk you through it.
How you gonna talk me through pain? It sounds like I'm going into labor, and you gonna say, "Hey, I'm gonna talk you through this pregnancy," and it's not fun. It's gonna hurt. No
Just breathe, what. Rich. Just breathe. Come on, inhale.
I'm trying to breathe through the thing you hurt me on. that's
a good response.
Yeah. Okay.
Come on.
So we have facials, we have manicurists, we have massage. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else in this traveling aura that you offer as far as service?
Yes, so we do workshops also. We do a lot of corporate wellness. So a lot of companies do hire us to come out and pamper their team to help build morale in the workplace. So if you're listening and watching this and you've been struggling with, keeping getting your team back into the office, because a lot of companies are trying to get their people back into the office. Traveling aura is a great incentive and you get all the credit. We'll convert your conference room into a pampering oasis with the chair massages, mint water, aromatherapy. And I don't know how much work they'll do that day, but they will reconsider quitting.
Got it.
Quiet quitting, so to speak.
Okay.
And so we do workshops and spa parties. We do get a lot of bridal bookings. South Florida is so transient. People love to come here for their bachelorette parties and stuff like that. So they'll do one day a yacht party and then a pampering party the next day. And so my team will come out, and let's say there's a group of 20 people. This 3 will start with a manicure, while this 3 is getting a pedicure, while this 3 is getting a facial, and that 3 is getting a massage, and then everybody rotates in the middle of them having their mimosas, their tea, jumping in the pool, whatever they want to do. And so people really love that because they're like, hey, I can really enjoy, my friends and family and not have to get kicked out of the spa, because there comes a time where the spa is like, hey, you don't have to go home, but your service here is done. And they hit you with the gentle tap. All right now. It's like, but you're still kicking me out.
Yeah. I'll be one of those that be snoring through
exactly
everything.
So with us, we're like, hey, if you want to just lay here on the floor, that is absolutely fine with us. We'll just let ourselves out. And so we do that. And then with the workshops, what we do is we do skincare workshops. So we'll come in, we bring all the products that you need to perform your skincare, and we walk you through how to do your own at-home facial, because a lot of people don't know how to do proper skincare at home, unfortunately.
Got it. Okay, so y'all real interactive.
Yes.
And so how many people are on your team right now?
So right now I have a team of 15 people.
Okay.
We are bringing more people on. We've been building relationships with the beauty schools and things of that nature so that we can expand this thing, because a lot of companies are seeking our services now. And I'm like, wow. I like my team to have flexibility, because some of them do have their own clients or they work full time somewhere else. So what what I tell them is Traveling Aura is a space where you can make additional money. Don't feel the pressure of feeling like you have to take an appointment, because we do have a roster of people that we can call on, so to speak.
Got it. So when you hire people outside of course, the expertise, what exactly are you looking for in an individual?
Well, how well you work as a team, how well you communicate and interact with people. What we do is such a hands-on element where you're touching people, and it's traveling aura, right? It's energy. And so how do you interact with people when you're in this space? So when I bring people on, before I send them to individual appointments, they do have to work events with me. So things like the Great Connect and those type of events, we do the services, I pay attention and I observe. But before that, we do a demo so I can see how they do their services. But then I like to see how are they in those spaces, because then when I'm booking appointments, I know who's best in what area based on things that I've observed that sometimes people don't necessarily tell you. And that's both good and bad.
So what would be some SOPs you say you have set up before people even get into the full of action?
With Traveling Aura. So you definitely have to do our application, and then you send us your license so that we make sure that you're a licensed professional in the state, and then we schedule a demo. And so during the demo is an opportunity for me to see how you provide the services. I don't say anything. Whether it's nails, skincare, or massages, you get about 15 to 20 minutes to do a mini service, so to speak. And so while you're doing that service, I'm taking notes, seeing, what's your style of work. And then after the demo, then we let you know, hey, you're officially on the team, or you're not. Once we bring you on, you do have to go through a training. Even though most of the people on my team are contractors, I do let them know that we do have a standard of business, a standard of how we show up. That's how we get the quality clients that we get. And so just kind of letting them know what our brand and our messaging is so that they're in alignment. Because people will ask them, well, how long have you been working with Traveling Aura? How long, what do you know about the company? And so I realized that was an important factor to make sure my team knew what team they were a part of. So that's some of the things that we do. And then after the orientation, then, I kind of test them, and I do put like, I don't want to say, what's the word that when you, like a secret shopper, so to speak. So I put them in those instances. So I might book an appointment for a friend and send them out, but they don't know that it's my friend, right? And then so I'm like, how was the experience? Did they greet you when they arrived? Did they introduce themselves? Like things of that nature.
Got it. Okay. And so have you thought about expanding out of the state?
Yes, that is the plan. I realized that I am onto something, and it's really big.
It sounds like
it's very, very big. And so, but I need to master where I am first in order to scale, because scaling it's the process, right? If you can recreate it. And so the goal is to master South Florida, expand along the Florida, and then take it to other states.
Got it. So what would be your version of mastering South Florida? What would that look like for you?
Ooh, that's a good question. Mastering South Florida to me would be, no matter what space you're in, if someone says, I'm looking to host an event, but I want to add something different, is Traveling Aura's name being dropped in those conversations? So to me, because people in my industry tend to you rarely see people in my industry navigate in the business realm that often. So for me, it's about who's talking about us, who knows that we exist. And so to me, that would be mastering South Florida. When the key people, the key players in South Florida are dropping your name in spaces, to me, that's mastering it.
Got it. Okay, I love that. And what would be 3 key pieces of advice that you would give to individuals looking to get started in the realm of, if you had to put a category for your category, in this category?
3 rules of advice. Value knowledge and learning. Because the mobile space and just business in general is constantly changing, right? And we have technology that speeds these things up. Don't get complacent with what you know, because that's what a lot of people, and just to be candid, I've played small for so long. And so what I did was, when I decided to step my game up and elevate my thinking and my business practices, I started to look back on why was I stuck, and why was I not exploring those things out there? And so now I identify those things in other people. And I realize it's, learning is one element, but you have to apply it.
Absolutely.
If you don't apply it, it's like you never learned anything.
It's true.
And so I would say, always, I like to say I'm a scholar of life, always learning. So always be willing to learn. Don't be afraid to put yourself in spaces that feel awkward, to have conversations with people that are outside of your industry. You never know. And that's been one of the key things for me. It's made me realize, like, wow, you never know who is looking for what you're offering, or who, I cannot tell you how many places I've been having business conversations with people, and they were former massage therapists or manicurists, and they're like, I had a vision to do what you're doing and I never did it. And it made me realize something, like, wow, people are looking for permission to step into that space. So you never know how those things will sharpen you. And then the third thing I would say is invest in your growth in all aspects, mental, physical, spiritual. Invest in it, because there will be times where you're like, why am I doing this? I am ready to throw in the towel. I am over it. Because if your business doesn't serve you, why are you doing it? And for me, that's what it became. It's like, you can't serve people if you are not serving yourself by aligning yourself with things that feed you. So those are the three things that I would say, and the advice I would say to anyone that would want to enter the mobile space, and create, because mobile is going to grow more and more. That's why I know I'm onto something, and I've created some things as a result, where I will be teaching people like a master class on how to go mobile. Because everyone may not want to go as big as I plan to be, but they want to be mobile in their own element, but they don't know what to do. And so I have some stuff coming for you soon. Be on the lookout.
Love that. So my last question is, what are you doing to either avoid or keep up with the world of AI while you're in a physical space?
I am so glad you brought that up, because if you would have asked me about AI just 3 years ago, or even 2 years ago, I was like, no, this is taking away jobs, and people are not going to have, et cetera, et cetera. And then when I step into that CEO role, and I really tapped into the vision, if I don't implement AI, I will be non-existent. And so even with having an assistant, so I have an assistant who assists me with booking appointments and doing things, but there becomes a cap on what a person has been exposed to. And I'm not going to lie, I'm going to replace a lot of things with AI. I've been having AI in my meetings, and it's phenomenal when I send people recaps and they're like, oh, you're so thorough. And I'm like, it's AI, baby. And I'm like, but it makes me look good. And so, which was interesting at the event that I saw you at this past weekend, the gentleman, he really, dropped some nuggets about just another level of AI. I was in his DMs like,
shout out to CJ University.
CJ. I was like, oh, sales calls, AI, using AI to get funding. Yeah. Tell me more. My ears perked up like it was no one's business. And, because there's parts of it when you're not in it that you haven't even tapped into. And so I'm part of this group called Sister Biz. They're out in Colorado. And one of the women, she's a tech person. And she's like, listen, she already told me, she's like, you're gonna need more AI in your business. And she's like pro tech everything, like a techie. She can tell you whatever you need as it pertains to the tech. And it's honestly made me say where I see the company going. If I don't implement, I will be non-existent.
Mm.
Simple. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And so I will be having more and more AI. CJ, I will be setting that appointment very soon because 2024.
It's right around the
What did
corner.
Denzel say? I'm leaving here with something.
True. I'm leaving here with something.
Something. And
Absolutely.
AI, listen, let's get into it. And so just kind of, because if you are not part of the changes, you will get ran over by them.
Absolutely.
You're either consuming or creating.
Love that. Love that. Well, Rain, this was amazing. I got to learn a little bit about your business, but even more about you, you know, the connection, the vibes. I can see why people would gravitate to you just genuinely. And of course, business wise, very knowledgeable on your subject. You have a lot of good services, you know, so I would like to add, by the time this episode comes out, we are going to do something special for your audience. If you get to this video, you got to watch the whole thing. Send a DM to me of 2 of the 3 things she said of keynotes, and you get a free manicurist package or whatever what do you call that?
What your audience, do you think your audience would be more interested in receiving services or learning how to step their game up?
You can choose.
With services, you can choose.
You can choose.
I like that. Which one?
Whichever one, if you want to learn more about it, or if you just want to have a good relaxation time, because everybody needs it. Doesn't matter who you are. Get them dogs cleaned up, you know, live life a little bit. You know, we're going to do that for one of you guys.
I love it, because Rich will be looking at those toes.
I will. I will. Absolutely. It's in South Florida. We're going to be flip-flops outside.
Right. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
And creating this space for entrepreneurs to, you know, share their story and speak a little bit more. So I look forward to pampering you on camera. And can y'all send him a message and make sure he gets a facial too? I'm just saying.
We'll see about that part. But Rain, if people wanted to follow you and your organization, where could they do that at?
So if you are interested in mobile pampering experiences, traveling Aura on all social media platforms, that's traveling 1L and Aura, AURA. If you would like to connect with me directly, Radiant Rain is on Instagram as well as all social media platforms. So Radiant, RADIANT _ Rain, REIGN. I look forward to connecting with you soon.
Amazing. Thank you again for just taking the time to come on the show. Y'all make sure that you like, share, subscribe this episode. Anybody that you know that may be interested in this conversation or want to even learn more about it, make sure you tap in with Rain, super knowledgeable, whether it's through the podcast or just hitting her up on social media, whatever you want to do. But again, this is another episode. I'm your host, Moneybag Rich here. And as we always say, you know, the motto, we look good, we live good. Life is good. Talk to us. We talk back, and we out of here.